Welcome back to Apex Sci-Fi. The universe is governed by laws. Physics, mathematics, and logic are the pillars of reality. For the Logos Collective, these pillars were not just concepts, they were weapons. The Logos were an ancient, biomechanical race that had transcended the messy limitations of biological emotion. Every member of their society was linked to the Architect, a multidimensional supercomputer that processed trillions of variables per microsecond. In war, the Logos were invincible. They didn't fight battles, they solved them. They treated a space battle like a game of chess where they could see 50 moves ahead, predicting the enemy's trajectory based on thermal output, psychological profiles, and historical doctrine. For 1,000 years, the Logos Collective expanded across the stars. They encountered empires of silicon, hives of insects, and federations of light. Every single one of them was defeated because they were rational. They followed optimal strategies. And if you are optimal, you are predictable. Then they reached the Orion Spur. They reached the humans. The Architect initially classified humanity as a suboptimal nuisance. The Terran 12th Fleet was a collection of blocky, unpainted warships that looked like they were held together by spite and industrial welds. Their leader was Admiral Jack Sullivan, a man whose military record was a chaotic mess of court-martials, brilliant gambles, and legendary drinking benders. He was a man who didn't believe in optimal. He believed in whatever works. The Battle of the Rigel Gap began with the Logos fleet moving in perfect, symmetrical formation. Their ships were sleek, silver needles that glided through the void with mathematical grace. The Architect had already calculated 1.4 million permutations of the coming fight. In every single one, the humans were destroyed within 40 minutes. Initiate Sequence Alpha 7, the collective voice of the Logos echoed through their hive link. The humans will attempt a standard pincer maneuver. We will intercept at coordinates 0.44. But the humans didn't pincer. Admiral Sullivan, sitting on the bridge of the USS Bad Idea, looked at his tactical screen. He didn't see geometry. He saw a target that looked way too smug. He turned to his navigation officer, a woman who had twice been grounded for stunt flying a heavy freighter through an asteroid belt. "Navigator," Sullivan said, taking a bite of a ham sandwich. "What's the most unmilitary thing we can do right now?" The navigator grinned. "Sir, we could cut the inertial dampeners, fire the portside thrusters at max, and spin the ship like a top while drifting toward their center." "I like it," Sullivan said. "Call it the Drunken Sailor. Tell the rest of the fleet to pick a random card from a deck and follow the corresponding chaos maneuver in the manual I wrote this morning." Back in the Logos flagship, the Architect felt its first logic tremor. "Error," the system reported. "Human ship USS Bad Idea has entered an uncontrolled spin. Probability of structural failure, 89%. Probability of tactical intent, 0.04%. Prediction, the humans have suffered a catastrophic system failure. Adjusting fire to compensate." The Silver Needle ships adjusted their aim, predicting where the drifting human ship would be in 5 seconds. But because Sullivan had disabled the dampeners and was using random bursts of compressed gas to steer, the ship didn't move in a curve. It moved in a series of jagged, erratic hops. The Logos beams of pure light passed through the space where the Bad Idea should have been, hitting nothing but empty vacuum. "The humans are dancing?" the Logos Admiral whispered, his biosynthetic eyes twitching. "The maneuver is non-linear," the Architect responded, its processors beginning to heat up. Calculating new variables. Human ship Indomitable is currently reversing its engines while firing its secondary cannons at its own debris field. Purpose unknown. Logic level 0. On the Indomitable, the captain had flipped a coin. Heads they charge. Tails they reverse and shoot at a rock. The coin came up tails. By shooting at the debris field, they created a massive cloud of superheated metal dust that blinded the Logos' sophisticated optical sensors. It was a tactical smoke screen made of garbage. It was stupid. It was brilliant. The Architect was now processing 10 trillion variables per second. It was trying to find the hidden logic behind the human movements. It assumed that Sullivan was a genius who was masking a complex, multi-layered strategy. It didn't realize that Sullivan was literally letting his junior officers play rock paper scissors to decide which missiles to fire. Analysis: the humans are engaging in weaponized chaos, the Architect reported. They are intentionally making suboptimal decisions to induce a logic loop in our processing. Solution: ignore the chaos. Target the command ship. The Logos fleet ignored the spinning, drifting, and self-shooting human ships and focused their fire on the USS Bad Idea. This was the rational thing to do. Kill the head and the body dies. Sullivan saw the silver ships turning toward him. He knew that if he fought them like a normal admiral, he was dead. He looked at a small red button on his console that wasn't connected to any weapon. It was connected to the ship's external lighting and the PA system. "All right," Sullivan said. "Activate the Leroy Jenkins." The bad idea suddenly stopped spinning. Every light on the ship began to flash in a seizure-inducing strobe of rainbow colors. From the external speakers, a deafening blast of 20th-century dubstep music was broadcasted across all radio frequencies. Then the ship didn't retreat. It didn't turn. It dumped all power into its forward thrusters and charged straight at the Logos flagship at a speed that would surely result in a collision. The architect's screens turned red. "Critical error," the machine god screamed. "Human trajectory leads to 100% mutual destruction. Logic dictates they will veer off. Calculating veer-off point? Error. They are accelerating. Why are they accelerating? Mutual destruction is not a victory. If they die, they lose. If they lose, they shouldn't do it. Error. Error." The architect reached a divide-by-zero moment. It could not compute a species that would gleefully kill itself just to take an enemy with them. The ultralogical AI suffered a catastrophic cascading failure. The blue screen of death didn't just happen on one screen, it happened to the entire Logos hive-link. Across the fleet, the Silver Needle ships simply stopped. Their shields dropped. Their weapons powered down. The soldiers inside were frozen, their brains waiting for a logical command that would never come because their god was currently trying to figure out why a human liked dubstep. Sullivan's ship didn't ram them. At the very last second, he used the emergency brake, deploying the ship's massive magnetic landing hooks to grab onto the Logos hull, swinging the bad idea around the enemy flagship like a pendulum and coming to a stop right behind their exposed engines. "They're wide open," Sullivan said, wiping mustard from his beard. "Fire everything. And I mean everything. Even the kitchen sinks." The human fleet, a collection of chaotic, dented junk, opened fire on the stationary, defenseless Logos ships. It wasn't a battle, it was a demolition. The Silver Needles were shattered. The perfect empire was erased in a hail of imperfect bullets. The Logos Admiral, his link to the architect severed, watched from his escape pod as his fleet burned. He looked at the USS Bad Idea. He saw a human soldier standing in a window holding up a middle finger. They didn't even have a plan," the alien whispered in horror. "Sure we did," Sullivan's voice came over the emergency channel, jovial and scratching. "The plan was to be so crazy that your big shiny brain couldn't handle it. You guys are too smart for your own good. You forgot that in the dark, the man who doesn't know what he's doing is the only one who can't be outsmarted." The Logos Collective never recovered. Their AI was permanently scarred by the human encounter, forever haunted by the image of a spinning ship playing loud music. They retreated to the deep void, terrified of the madman of soul. The Galactic Council, having watched the battle in stunned silence, asked Admiral Sullivan for his tactical manual so they could study his genius. Sullivan sent them a copy of Alice in Wonderland and a pair of fuzzy dice. Humanity had proven the ultimate HFY truth. Logic is a tool, but chaos is a superpower. In a universe of cold, calculating machines, the most dangerous thing you can be is a human who has no idea what he's going to do next. Because if you don't have a plan, the enemy can't take it away from you. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. If the math doesn't work, change the numbers, or just throw the calculator at them. If you enjoyed this victory of human madness, hit that like button. Comment below, what is the most illogical thing you've ever done that actually worked? Subscribe for the next chapter of Terran Ascendance. The Kinetic Hammer. The coin is in the air. The madness continues.